Okay, Celtics in 6. Man, it went. What happened? What happened in the fourth quarter, y'all? We just collapsed. Start missing all the shots. Steph just getting away with y'all. Come on, man. It's lockstep. Like, why is Klay still getting good looks? Why is Klay still able to catch the ball off the run and pull up? Defense. Offense wins games, but defense wins championships. We got to tighten up. Welcome back to Munroe's Corner. Oh, man. Celtics in 6. And let's get, this is NBA legends explain how crazy good Larry Bird was. Let's get into it, yo. I need some Larry Bird videos, some Celtics videos to boost, lift my spirits, okay? So we gonna do it. Let's get to it.
The man from Indiana who gave us an 80s to remember by...
I forgot. Roll to 50K. 50K by Independence Day, all right? Give me a like for the algorithm and subscribe for the channel growth.
The man from Indiana who gave us an 80s to remember by lighting up a battle between the Celtics and the Lakers will forever be heralded as one of the players who saved basketball. Bird and Magic's coast-to-coast war and jaw-dropping styles gave the NBA the boost it needed before the emergence of Michael Jordan. But for Bird, with 3 titles, 2 Finals MVPs, and 3 consecutive MVP seasons, some forget just how good he really was. Today we look at NBA players explaining how crazy good Larry Bird was in his prime. Before we get into all that, if you want to win a PS5 with NBA 2K22 and Madden NFL 22 included, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. When speaking of the NBA's greatest of all time, there's always 5 or 10 guys that hit the list. Each carries a different generation. From 50s Bill Russell to 60s Wilt Chamberlain or 70s Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 80s Magic Johnson, 90s Michael Jordan, 2000s Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant, to today's LeBron James. Some get overlooked when they shouldn't. For example, Tim Duncan. And others get left behind because of the lack of titles, like Charles Barkley. What happens when all these players talk of another great as if he was like no other? Larry Bird was lauded by most of these legends, because he was one of them too. He was consistent, tough, offensively masterful, and one of the first big guys to shoot many three-point shots. LeBron James spoke candidly in an interview about how...
Was that a double pump three-point shot off the glass? Off 1 foot?
The first big guys to shoot many three-point shots. LeBron James spoke candidly in an interview about how he was one of the few guys ever to win a three-point contest with a warm-up shirt on. LeBron referring to the time Larry won his 3rd consecutive three-point contest. James continued,
for young guys that don't know him, you know, they think of Larry Bird as a jump shooter. But he was so much more than that. He was a passer. He averaged double-digit rebounds.
Incredible passer.
He defended, he took charges. And, you know, he's a straight-up complete basketball player, and me as a small forward.
Later in his career, LeBron adapted his game to the new way of basketball, which was a charge led by the Golden State Warriors in shooting more from behind the arc. LeBron was considered a big guy, but began shooting more threes, and no doubt was heavily influenced by the fact that Larry Legend had already achieved this feat in the 80s.
Like now the whole game is like everybody shoot threes. You know what I'm saying? Everybody shooting. Big men wasn't shooting threes like that back then. Bird was.
And no doubt was heavily influenced by the fact that Larry Legend had already achieved this feat in the 80s. In another interview when asked about his top 3 of all time, LeBron put Larry Bird firmly in there with MJ and Dr. J.
My God, 3, Larry Bird, Dr. J, Michael.
Shaq had a very different opinion on Larry initially. He said he disliked Bird because he was jealous. He thought, how could this regular-looking guy do everything?
Never really had a chance to play against Larry Bird, but I actually used to hate Larry Bird. I hated him.
Shaq soon realized as he grew older and wiser that despite getting the luck of the Irish with the Celtics, Larry made his own luck when it came to shooting the ball.
Yeah.
Shaq, at 7'1", of course, had a completely different style of game at the time. He was built to the max and used brute force to impose his will on the defense and rack up the points, blocks, and rebounds. Shaq was also faster than most give him credit for, particularly in the early part of his career.
O'Neal the rebound, now the Magic with a final shot chance. O'Neal runs the floor, takes it all the way!
Bird was notoriously slow, which was all the more testament to his skill set, but his basketball IQ was just on a different planet. He once sank a shot from behind the backboard, which O'Neal chalked down to a fluke following a bet with his friend.
Sam Vincent to Bird, and
Scoop! Yeah. You know how accurate you gotta be to hit that shot?
Bird, and
What?
it goes
Shaq never really got the chance to play against Larry Bird, which is unfortunate, because I don't think it would have taken him so long to recognize greatness.
Nah,
On
he
the
would
other
have knew.
hand, 6-time NBA champion
He would have knew how great he was in one game. This Bird would have talked shit to him, and then he would have did exactly what he said he was gonna do.
long to recognize greatness. On the other hand, 6-time NBA champion Kareem Abdul-Jabbar battled Bird on numerous occasions while playing with the Showtime Lakers. Bird got the better of him in the 1984 finals, and took another two in a decade that was largely dominated by the purple and gold. Kareem spoke about how Larry might have been the best he had played against, and said,
how good was
Michael
Bird?
Jordan.
I don't think people
don't
look at
appreciate
him and think,
Yeah,
oh,
they
he's
say,
a white
"Oh,
guy,
this
slow
is-
guy.
The chubby white guy, he wore us out, man. You know, because he just, this muscle here, the one between his ears,
Yeah.
that was his best, you know, because he made the three-pointers and he had assists and rebounded, steals. He was always at the right place at the right time on the court. You know, one of the great players, I had the opportunity to play against.
11-time All-Star Charles Barkley, a regular season
And that rebounding is, you know what I'm saying? Rebounding is a science, man. Like I was one of those guards who used to get a lot of rebounds. You know what I'm saying? Knowing like if a player shoot from this angle, you know what I'm saying? If it's where about the ball's gonna drop. Dennis Rodman was super genius at that.
an MVP during a star-filled 90s, was once asked, "Are you better than Bird?" And he took a long pause before answering, which is very telling.
Am I better than Bird? Oh man, that's a great question.
Most great players respond immediately with how they think they're the best because you have to have that kind of mentality in order to get to the top. Instead, Barkley answered,
I'm a better rebounder. I'm probably a better defender. He's a better shooter, obviously. You know, a lot of people talk about who's better.
But you have to have that mentality.
No, you know. I think, it's a team game.
I think deep down he knew that Bird was a better player, and for someone as good as Chuck to be stumped like that in an interview shows you how heavy the weight of Larry Bird's legacy was. Former teammate Kevin McHale also references
Chuck was stumped on that question, wasn't he?
Is how unreal Bird was to play with. McHale was Bird's right-hand man while playing with Boston, claiming the Sixth Man of the Year award twice, along with 7 All-Star appearances. His story of a specific Detroit game is fascinating. There was a bit of time left on the clock, and we had beaten Detroit, and I just scored 56, and I'm walking off the court, and Larry said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm done." I said, "I'm exhausted. I'm tired." Larry goes, "Don't do it, man, because when I get that hot, I'm not coming out of the game." A week later, he got that hot. He looked at me at about 50 points, and he looked at me and said, "I told you." The pair would go on to win 3 titles together. And McHale would continue to tell stories that live on in Celtics folklore forevermore. A highlight being a throwback from,
"If I get 56, I'm definitely going for 60. And if it's some good time left when I hit 60, I'm going for 70. Do not take me out this game."
Bird's brutal trash talk at a game in Phoenix.
We have a play, out of bounds play, I'm taking it out, and Larry says, "I'm going to bust off the play, and I'm just going to come out, and I'm going to shoot a 3, and I'm like, "We're down 2. I'm like, "No, don't do that." I'm like, "Let's shoot a 2, please. Go to the hole, try to get fouled. Let's just get into overtime, see if we can't win this game." And Larry says, "No, I'm just going to bust a 3 on him." I'm like, "Oh, my gosh." So he tells the Phoenix bench, tells the coaches, "Yeah, I'm just fixing to bust a 3 on you guys and just go home. I'm tired of this." And he gets the ball, jumps out, busts the play, comes out, gets the ball at the slot, shoots the ball. As the ball's in the air, he kind of turns towards the Phoenix bench and yells, "Told you so!"
Larry's mental game was such that he could just open up any team and tear them apart. He would use psychological warfare on a regular basis. Players speak of his toughness not because of his size or physicality, but because of his mind. He would impose his will on the opposition and could force them off their game just as much as he could switch on his.
You get in somebody's head, it's over. It's over.
A mastermind at trash talk tactics, Larry Bird will forever go down in history as one of the greatest trash talkers of all time. And in the 80s, that mattered. With players such as Bill Laimbeer, Hakeem Olajuwon, Magic Johnson, and the eventual emergence of Michael Jordan, Bird did what was necessary in order to gain that mental edge that took him over the top.
Yeah, you needed that. You needed that mental
James
edge,
Worthy,
yo.
the 1988 Finals MVP, simply stated that Larry was trash talking all the time, but the problem was he could back it up.
Yeah, he could back it up. So when you're arrogant and you can back it up, you're not arrogant, you're just good. And Larry was good.
I like that. I like that, yo. You saved me. Hold on, let me say that one more time.
Yeah, he could back it up. So when you're arrogant and you can back it up, you're not arrogant, you're just good.
Yeah.
And Larry was good.
When you can back
Even
it up.
Worthy's former teammate Magic Johnson spoke on the fact that he had a real dislike for Larry Bird as far back as their college playing days for the very reason that Larry would constantly get the better of him. Johnson claimed in a recent interview during a press build-up for the Broadway play about the pair that after he beat Larry in the NCAA championship game in 1979, the most watched college basketball game ever, by the time he got to the Lakers, they were 0-8 to the Celtics.
You had to hate the Celtics to beat them because when I got here, we were 0-4, I think 8. And then the first time against the Celtics and then in championship series. And then we lost that in 84. That made us 0-9, I believe.
And later is quoted as saying, "When I played, Larry Bird was the only one I feared." Not bad when hearing it from a 5-time champion and one of the true great basketball players of all time. At the 2019 NBA Awards, Johnson received the NBA Lifetime Achievement Award, but it was shared with guess who? Larry Bird. Bird was simply the king of talking the talk, then actually going out and walking the walk.
Listen, man. Retirement is great for you because you never talked this long.
Dominique Wilkins recounts one of the most famous games where Larry Bird promised Kevin McHale he was going to break McHale's record against Atlanta. Wilkins said,
"He got so hot in that game that you talk about that patented step back. He was doing that step back and he switched it to his left hand 3 separate times in that game. He hit a 3. He was scoring anywhere on the floor that he wanted.
Is this when the bench was giving each other 5?
The bench was giving each other 5.
So did you get in a fight with them after the game? Forget Larry. Did you beat anybody on the bench? Because you giving 5, he's scoring on me.
Every one of those guys got 5.
Oh, what interview is that? I want to watch that interview. What interview is that? It's Dominique, Chris Webber. It's a Universe Galaxy.
Giving each other 5.
Open Court. That was on Open Court. Isaiah Thomas. Okay. I gotta watch that video.
Switched it to his left hand 3 separate times in that game. And hit a 3. He was scoring anywhere on the floor that he wanted.
Is this when the bench was giving each other 5?
The bench was giving each other 5.
So did you get in a fight with them after the game? Forget Larry. Did you beat anybody on the bench? Because you giving 5, he's scoring on me.
Every one of those guys got fined $3,000.
Okay.
Larry's legend lives on because of the greats that want to tell them. The reason there's a list of top 10 players who consistently call Bird their toughest opponent or one of their all-time greats is because Larry himself is in that list. Larry is a top 10 baller of all time. His style doesn't matter when his skill sinks the opposition. Because above all, the opposition will remember. They'll remember the steals, the shots, the clutch plays, and the trash talk. They'll remember the Bird from the early 80s, not from the early 90s. The Larry who stepped out on the court in his warm-up jacket and made Michael Jordan recoil in envy. MJ announced,
"He ain't took off his top yet. I didn't see when he took off his top."
Well, when Bird did, it was all business. He may as well have taken a mop and bucket to the floor because he was about to clean up. He was an impetuous and never relenting opponent that took the life from anyone who stepped onto his battlefield. The consensus is a resounding stamp of legendary status for the man who will forever go down in the history books as one of the greatest ever players, and arguably the greatest ever Celtic to grace the court. What did you think of Larry Bird in his
No
prime?
doubt. There's no doubt he's the greatest Celtic ever touched the court. Come on now. Stop playing. Let's not do that. Larry Legend is Boston. Yeah, that was a good video. I need to, I gotta do some research, find that that video they was all talking about it. Cause I really want to hear Dominique talk about that, man. There's somebody else videos I need to get into. Dominique Wilkins, definitely, man. Showtime, man. With him and Spud Webb, yeah, we got a lot of videos we got to get into, man. But put in the comments what you want me to react to next, and I'm gonna get to it, man. Road to 50K by Independence Day, man. Enjoy this reaction. Give me a like for the algorithm and subscribe for the channel growth. All right, peace out, baby. One love. Celtics in 6, man. Celtics in 6. Let's do it. Defense. Come on, man.